Hello Linden, my name is Devin Sears, Councillor at the Linden Mayor and Town Council, also the Project Coordinator for Linden Town Week 2018. I first of all must apologize on behalf of the Council for the delay in the delivery of this report, but you can appreciate that with an event such as large as this, careful and precise deliberations need to be had since it will determine the trajectory set for 2019's Linden Town Week. In August of 2017, the Linden Mayor and Town Council made a conscious decision to host Linden Town Week 2018 because it believed that it represented the interests of the people of Linden and it is not a for-profit based entity. Over the following months, the Linden Mayor and Town Council took 3 bold steps to ensure a successful 2018 celebration. Number 1 was to establish a project plan which detailed every activity and timeline that needed to be accomplished. Step 2 was to establish a secretariat, a Linden Town Week secretariat. Because the council believes in inclusivity, there were representatives from the religious body, Linden Chamber of Commerce, health, education, sport, entertainment, and several other persons of interest that represented various interest groups. And the third step was to secure financing. The Linden Mayor and Town Council, out of its coffers, secured $3 million that will execute or be awarded to various initiative processes that would set the foundation for a successful Linden Town Week. Sponsorship. Aggressive pursuit of funding was done beginning from the premature stages of Linden Town Week, which followed a comprehensive database system. However, most did not materialize because of varying reasons. In terms of financing and accountability, the Council believes in transparency. As such, it has made a decision that all transactions, all financial transactions, whether coming in or going out, will pass through the Accounts Department or what we call the Treasury. Advertising. Through the assistance of several councillors, one including me, the production costs for radio, television, and graphical ads stood at null cost. Further assistance were granted from NCN regionally and nationally, 94.1 Boom FM, 104.3 Power FM, and other print media sources that granted their support in promoting Linden Town Week 2018. Further assistance was granted from Jive Signs, which gave us tremendous discount on print banners, and we made full use of social media platforms such as Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Facebook. Initially, the Linden Town Week Secretariat envisaged a concept of color coding and zoning for clothing, food, and drinks. However, this was not achieved because of the overarching cost for the initial investment. We were thinking about color tents, lighting, storage, along with several other concepts that would ensure that our vendors are comfortable. However, this will be further explored in the coming years. Based on the project plan, there were several projects that were identified to be executed pre, during, or post Linden Town Week 2018. One of them being is the patriotic or iconic magazine I Love Linden, which focused on 48 years of achievement by Lindeners for Lindeners. Sports, education, tourism, and agriculture were 4 of the primary pillars that were focused on this magazine. This magazine was successfully produced by myself, also a marketing team, and the entire Linden Town Week Secretariat, and it is available online. The other project was to build I Love Linden 3-dimensional sign, which would have been Guyana's first 3-dimensional town sign. But it's not just a sign. The vision was to create an entire family-oriented park that promoted ecotourism, also promoted flora and faunas, and all the good things that Linden had to offer. However, from the initial discussions, it seemed that if we were going to be granted permission to use the site, that's on the Karakara Dike. But after further deliberations and safety concerns, we were not granted permission to use that site. So currently, the council is exploring alternatives to establish that park and to put that sign, the I Love Linden sign, right there so that persons can love Linden more. Also, it would promote Linden in a great and fantastic way. I mean, just think about it, the amount of selfies that are going to be taken there, and it is going to become somewhat of the new art where persons that are attending wedding will go to take photos. So it will promote our town in a big way tourism-wise. And finally, waste management. The key objective of proceeds garnered from Linden Town Week 2018 as projected was to execute a waste management project with key emphasis on garbage disposal or to alleviate same. At this point in time, based on the financial records, the Linden Mayor and Town Council would not be able to purchase a compactor truck or carry out any major activity, but is currently exploring alternatives that will be just as effective. The Linden Town Week operation saw several elements being executed during that period. One being is franchising, which was granted only to promoters based in Linden or entities who Lindeners benefit from. They were confined to a contract which detailed what they are going to be delivering on, as well as paying a cost that the council benefited from and ultimately the town. Security. This was maintained through a collaborative effort between the Linden Mayor and Town Council Constabulary Division, the Guyana Police Force E Division, the policing group, and other private security. During that period, it also created an opportunity for employment because there were several site staffs that were temporarily employed. We had partnered with NGOs to ensure that these events were executed successfully. To ensure effective communication was achieved, a Linden Town Week telephone hotline was established to work in conjunction with the Linden Mayor and Town Council's help desk, which allowed persons to receive readily available information about vending, about franchising, and several other things that they might want to know about. As far as we know, there were no major incidents during the entire Linden Town Week period, and this here wraps up a 22-year achievement. However, it must be noted that after one of the major events, 2 persons lost their lives, which was very, very unfortunate along the Linden-Suzdijk Highway. And the Linden Mayor and Town Council, of course, extends their sincere condolences to the family, friends, relatives of those 2 young men that lost their lives. Crowd control, traffic management, and emergency access. Specific criteria were set by the Secretariat, which addressed overcrowding and emergency access as guided by the Guyana Police Force. This included minimum 1 entrance and 1 exit to every facility in a case of evacuation. Access roads for ambulance and fire brigade was necessary. There were daily management of vehicular traffic. In terms of medical personnel, every major event had to have a medical personnel on site. Hospitality. In collaboration with the Linden Tourism Association, hotels, guest houses, bed and breakfasts were inspected for quality assurance. License and permits were easily processed through the Linden Town Week Secretariat in bulks. The use of public transportation ranging from ferries, hire cars, and buses maintained during that period. However, in the case of wheeled vehicle parks, were relocated to the constabulary compound, Central Mackenzie. During this period, we must say that there was no increase in pricing for transportation. Now that Linden Town Week 2018 is over, there are several considerations and recommendations that were made by the Linden Town Week Secretariat, one being with emphasis on management. The Secretariat management team, while proven inclusive, must be re-evaluated because of 3 primary reasons. 1, political and personal interferences. Number 2, the unavailability of core members, which affected constructive discourse and decision making. Number 3, the bottleneck approach with regards to further approval or commendation by the wider council. Currently, there is no clear trajectory regarding Linden Town Week 2019 and beyond. However, it is hoped that the following approaches are not ignored, and they revolve around 3. 1 is sole pursuit, 2 partnership, or 3 franchising out Linden Town Week 2019. The first one that should be considered is sole pursuit. If this is a consideration by the council should carry out a feasibility study on the viability of Linden Town Week. The findings will assist in drafting a project framework document detailing the expectancies and deliverables of Linden Town Week 2019. This will be used as a guide by the Secretariat to execute effectively. The Secretariat should function in a semi-autonomous state with minimal involvement from the full council and administration, limited to one representative from the council and one representative from the administration, which likely will be the deputy town clerk, who will feed information regarding financing and also deliverables. All members of the Secretariat should be paid a stipend post the signing an agreement. An experienced project coordinator should be hired and paid to deliver or to lead the entire process. And number 5, invest enough to offset initial expenses. Another consideration would be partnership. Formulate a partnership agreement with a selected credible promotional entity who will manage all the extremities of the Linden Town Week project, be it marketing, event planning, sub-franchising, spot allocation, etc. However, to ensure transparency, all financial transactions should be done through the Treasury Department of the Linden Mayor and Town Council, who has to be audited at the end of the day. Ensuring that transparency is there is essential in executing a successful Linden Town Week. One of the considerations under the partnership agreement is that the partnership should ensure that major events are reserved so as to ensure high profitability. And finally, an independent audit should be done on completion of Linden Town Week 2019. The final consideration is franchising. Franchising Linden Town Week should be awarded to the highest bidder after an assessment of the estimated worth of the festivity, and also falls in line with the vision of the council, the proposal that is. Funding should be readily available for the execution of all tasks. Sourcing of funding through financial support from corporate should commence as soon as possible. Major entities and businesses who benefit from Linden financially should be put on notice formally that they have a corporate social responsibility. You cannot be benefiting from Linden and not giving back, period. Event and duration. Based on feedbacks and constructive criticism, the people of Linden will have to decide on the model that 2019's Linden Town Week takes. Whether it is that it is going to focus more on fete or cultural events or educational activities, or whatever it is that the people of Linden want. Because what I can say to you is that the cultural events are not as supported as the fete events. And also what needs to be considered is the duration of Linden Town Week. Can we sustain Linden Town Week for 10 days, or do we have to revert to a weekend or even a day? That is a decision that the people of Linden will have to make very, very soon. In advent of the commencement of the Linden Lethem Road, and of course all eyes are in Guyana right now because of the oil and gas industry, Linden Town Week has the potential to grow. But one of the major challenges that we have is accommodation. Currently, we can only cater based on the amount of hotels, guest houses, or registered bed and breakfast. We can only cater for maybe under 5% of the tourists and visitors that will be coming to our town. So we have to explore possible investors for that particular sector, hospitality and accommodation. In applying for a curfew relaxation for the Linden Town Week 2019, days should be requested instead of events, which gives an opportunity for all to benefit. In 2018, we recognize that this was an error and it will be addressed in 2019. In any investment, there are always risks, and Linden Town Week is no different. After evaluating Linden Town Week 2018, there were primarily 4 risks that should not be ignored. One being politicizing Linden Town Week 2019. As we know, we're heading into 2020 elections, and politicians likely will use Linden Town Week as a pedestal to promote their agenda. Linden Town Week belongs to the people of Linden, and unless we grab a hold of it and run it the way we would like, politicians will use it as a tool to be elected. Guyana Carnival could dent the Linden Town Week franchise. As we know, Linden Town Week has been around for 22 years. 22 years of foreign investment, of promotion, of economic stimulation, of cohesion. All of that could be dented because of Guyana Carnival. As we know, this year, 2018, Guyana Carnival was introduced for the very first time, and already they have commenced planning and promoting 2019. But this is where maybe the government intervention should be had, looking at spacing national events, because Linden Town Week is a part of the national calendar. When you think about it, Mashramani, then we have Regatta, then Linden Town Week, then Guyana Carnival, and then we have something else, and we move on. So we have to start promoting Linden Town Week early, but maybe we have to look nationally at separating major events, especially since it plays such a key role in the economic development of a town. Based on track records, the level of investment by sponsors, promoters could deplete in 2019 because of the poor results it has had over the years. So we have to look at Linden Town Week in a holistic way. Maybe we need to break it apart and then reassemble it so as to ensure that not only the people of Linden benefit, but the sponsors of itself benefit as well. And finally, limited access to resources to execute the project effectively, be it sponsorship, be it waste management equipment, and several other things to ensure that Linden Town Week reaches its true potential. I believe that Linden Town Week has a bright future, yes, but it takes a collaborative effort between corporate, private, and even the residents of Linden. We are Linden Town Week. We can make Linden Town Week the next biggest thing in this world. We can make it Mardi Gras, the next biggest carnival, but we have to ensure that we work together, cohesively working towards one goal. We need to identify and know what we want from Linden Town Week. Linden Town Week showcases us to the world, but we need to market it more. We need to sell it bigger than life. We need to not only think about Linden, the region, Guyana, the world. We need to take Linden Town Week to the universe.